Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here at our Meet the Faculty event with Professor Hayden Noel. We are so excited to have you all join us this evening for a very special event with one of our top faculty members. As hopefully you're learning, our faculty is at the heart of our programs, and we really wanted to just give you the opportunity tonight to meet one of our top faculty members and get to know him a little bit. So before we get started today, let me first of all just introduce myself. My name is Kate Deering. I am an associate director within Gies Online programs, and I work in the recruitment space. So you are all in the right place here tonight. So I want to point your eyes to the QR code on this first slide. This is just a great way to get in touch with our admission counselor team. There's a short form that you can fill out, and that will put you in touch with our team to set up a time to talk with you about your goals, answer any questions that you have. Just a great way to connect with us. So we are going to move through this agenda today with the help of Professor Hayden Noel. So we are going to ask him questions as we move throughout our time today. We are going to touch on Gies Online and Gies business as a whole. We are going to talk about the curriculum and the content in our credentials and in Gies Online programs. We're going to talk about student engagement, and then we will, of course, have a little time to present some of your questions that you all submitted in your registration form to Professor Noel. So that will be great here at the end. If you have questions as we move throughout the presentation this evening, go ahead and add those to the Q&A feature. We also have the chat enabled, but I will say the Q&A feature is an easier place to put those questions so that everybody can see the answers in one place, and we can kind of keep track of those a little bit easier. So welcome, everyone. While we're getting to our introduction of our special guest this evening, let us know where you're joining from. Hopefully we've got students from all over the world joining us this evening. So throw that in the chat and let us know where you're from. Now I want to just kind of turn it over to our special guest, Professor Hayden Noel. We are so lucky to have him here. He works very closely with our recruitment team, mostly because he just loves getting to know, our students, and is very active in the iMSM and iMBA program. So you can see a lot of the details about his background here on this slide for your reference, but I actually am just going to turn it over to Hayden so that you can actually go through a little bit about your background, talk about the roles that you play within Gies, and then maybe a little bit of like where you came from and where you're going and possibly the research that you do. So with that, I'm going to introduce Professor Hayden Noel.
Hi, all. Well, welcome to this webinar. It's always a pleasure for me to interact with students for a number of reasons. The main one, of course, is you are the lifeblood of our program. Without students, our program would not be as successful as it is, as it has been. A bit about me. I was born in a small twin island republic called Trinidad and Tobago. Who knows where it is? Let me see in the chat. Which one of you would have heard about Trinidad and Tobago? I hope some people would say yes. All right. Okay. Your family's from Jamaica. I was just in Jamaica, Jerome, for the Boys and Girls Championships. I used to run track in my youth. I don't walk like that now. I walk with a limp because of a bad knee from soccer. But anyway, so I came from Trinidad 34 years ago and did my MBA at a joint MBA at Pace University and with courses supplemented from NYU. So I was in New York. And then I went on after that to work in advertising and public relations. In advertising, I worked for a company called Bozell Jacobs Kenyon Eckhart. And one of the campaigns I was fortunate to work on was a milk mustache campaign, Got Milk, right? Where people have this fake milk mustache. So that was a very, very popular campaign. It's actually one of the longest running consumer ad campaigns in the world. It's been running since I had hair. I had a lot of hair back then, but that's almost 30 years ago, and it had started running before that. And during my time there, one of the things I realized is the partners would do so many things based on rules of thumb, things that worked in the past. So I would ask if we got a new client, I'd say, well, how should I approach this? So, well, run two TV ads, two radio ads, run some print ads and so on. And also at that time, there was this very small company started in Bozell called DoubleClick, which was one of the first online advertising companies. And say we'll try one of that, one of those an ad that way and see how it would connect online. And when I asked why we should do it that way, they all said because that's how it works. That has been successful. And that got me thinking, if we understood why these things were successful, if we understand the whys, then we might be able to do it better. So I started doing my own research and I realized that a PhD might be the best avenue for me to understand the whys of consumer behavior and the whys of advertising. So I went ahead and applied to multiple schools, University of Florida, Duke University, NYU, and I got into all of them. And I chose the University of Florida. Go Gators. Um, and that's where I did my PhD. I graduated in 2002 with a PhD in marketing with a focus on consumer behavior, which I stress consumer behavior because when I explain my research, you will see the connection. And then I went on to work as a professor at City University of New York at Baruch College. Anyone from New York here? Anyone from New York? Have you heard of Baruch College? Let me see in the chat. Have you heard of Baruch College? By the way, I'm treating this not like a class, it's a discussion, but I like to see comments in the chat. If I don't see, I think either people aren't listening to me or I'm not having an impact. So I like to have an impact. So if you chat, that'll be great. I like to keep an eye on the chat. So I worked at Baruch and then I came here to University of Illinois 18 years ago in 2007. And I was really welcomed as part of the faculty. And in 2016, I joined the movement that we had here to move our master's programs online. We already had a successful MBA, in-person MBA program that was ranked in the top 25 and then in the top 40. And our MBA programs were doing well. However, there was a steady decline in enrollment. And the research I did and others did showed that this was a trend nationally, that people were moving away from online programs because they had to stop working. The way I look at it, I frame it this way. When I did my PhD, I had grown-up bills and I got a student salary. So it's tough to manage that. And that was key, one of the key drivers, the fact that that was not where the students were in the online in the in-person classes. There was one, I think when they asked Jesse James or someone, why do you rob banks? Say, well, because that's where the money is, right? So why did we move online? Because that's where the students were. That's where they were going. That's where they were trending. So I was one of the first faculty members to teach in the core of our iDegrees program. And at that time, we only had the iMBA program. Shortly after we saw the iMSA, the iMSM, and we're expanding still with certificates and so on. And that's how I came to Gies. Now, in terms of my research, I work on a couple things. My dissertation was on memory and how people remember repeated advertising. I look at something called the spacing effect. Basically, if you spread things apart, you tend to remember them better. But sometimes if you have them closer together, depending on the context, ads, for instance, you'll remember them better as well. So I was looking at the different contexts in which you could repeat ads and enhance memory. What got me thinking about that was I was watching a TV show and there were these caveman ads. I think it was Geico, or I'm not sure it's Geico. It's so easy a caveman could do it. And they showed a caveman ad at the beginning of the advertising block, and they showed another one right after. I said, what's going on? Why show the same type of ad back to back? And that's what I studied. So that was my main area of research. And I'm sure you've seen that, right? Where they repeat ads one right after the other. Or in the same block, you would have the same exact ad at the beginning and at the end. I study that. I also study how AI is impacting student learning outcomes, and also look at ways in which we can use experiential learning to help bolster student learning outcomes. So those are just some of the things I do research on. So that's me in a nutshell. I toss it back to my capable colleague, Kate Daring.
Well, we are just so lucky to have you. Thank you for providing that background. And I've heard it before, but it's so interesting just to hear your path to Geese and some of your insight from over the years. So, okay, well, I did want to kind of give everybody a little bit of a background on Geese business. If you're new to Geese here today, so and I'm guessing some of you may be, but the Geese College of Business is one of 16 colleges within the Greater University of Illinois. We do have undergraduate programs, and then we have graduate programs, which are either on campus or online. So as you heard, tonight we're going to focus on the graduate level online offerings, and there are a few key elements that make up Geese business in this online space. And that first one is flexibility. So our programs are really designed for maximum flexibility, allowing you a top tier business degree, but on your schedule, as Professor said. So you can access our content from anywhere in the world while you're working. So as a full-time working professional, you're able to access live and asynchronous course content. You can engage like we are this evening with your faculty, and also through those live sessions, group projects, all while keeping your life moving in the same direction. So very flexible in that sense. They're also stackable. Geese is stackable. We offer stackable credentials that stack and work together to provide you lots of options to meet you wherever you're at in your learner journey. So you can take a single course for upskilling. To test drive a course, you can try a graduate certificate and then stack those credit hours into a full master's degree. So that's really your choice. There's a lot of options as far as where you start and where you want to go. And then lastly, Geese is online by design. So as Professor Noel mentioned, the iMBA was launched back in 2016 as one of the first online iMBA programs at offered at a very affordable price. But we provided this degree with a very innovative delivery method where we combine that foundation material housed on the Coursera platform with a high engagement component. So we're going to talk a lot about the engagement components here this evening, and one of those is interacting with your faculty members. So so hopefully that gives you a little bit of a sense of what we're about here at Geese. I guess Professor Noel, what do you like most about working at the Geese College of Business and in online programs?
Well, first, working at Geese has really afforded me the opportunity to let my voice be heard, both in terms of my research voice and also my teaching and my teaching methods. I have honed my teaching methods here, and I've introduced some fairly innovative things in my courses, and it has been encouraged. For instance, at the beginning of my class, I play a song of the day. That's something I had not seen many people do. And it's actually something that students really love. Most of the songs have a meaning behind them. And there's also research that shows that playing a song at the beginning of class actually impacts learning outcomes, putting people in a positive mood. Happy people make better learners. So, you don't want to play a song that makes people angry or sad. You want to play a song that makes them, puts them in a happy mood. Also, we do so much to connect with students, and the iDegrees program really affords me that opportunity to connect with students in ways that I couldn't in an in-person class. In an in-person class, we have people in the back row. We do. People sit in the back, and you have to go up around to the back of the class, try and call on them. And There's no back row in our iDegrees program. You're all in the front of the class, which is actually good for you. I also encourage students to turn on their camera to help engage them. So I have found that engagement is higher for me in my online class relative to my in-person class. It's really much greater. And here's what happens as well. In an in-person class, if someone thinks about the answer, you don't know what they're thinking. In an online class, when they think they know the answer, they type it in the chat. You actually see it and you can call on students who are actually moving in the right direction. Or if they just have something interesting to say, they might not say it out loud, but they have said it. They have said the quiet part out loud by typing it in the chat. So I really think this teaching online has helped me hone my skills, and innovation is encouraged. We are an innovative program. We have so many innovative elements, the stackability and so on, the certificate students can do, the continuous access Coursera videos, even after you've graduated, and so on, the courses. We are innovative. And we're not partnering with our medical school and so on to offer joint programs. All of these things are, reflective of our innovative spirit. And in that vein, the administrators have allowed faculty to be innovative and try new things. We are not shackled. We are not tied to a specific way of doing things. The only thing we're tied to is the way our slides look, the formatting of the slides, right? Because it reads better if it's a certain way, a certain format. Don't ask me why, but that's what I've been told. So we use the slides tend to have a similar look. That's about it.
I love that. I know one time I sat in on one of your live classes and you guys played Earth, Wind, or you played in Earth, Wind, and Fire September. And
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that's
yeah.
one of my favorite songs. So I
Yep,
was
yep.
hooked then. So
And more than
uh,
likely, it was September we played that song. We
it
only played it
was.
in the
It
fall
was.
class. You
Yep.
know, one day we actually managed to get it played on the 21st day of September.
There you go.
And
There you
that's the
go.
first line. Do you remember the 21st
Yep.
night of
Ve-
September?
Very timely. So, but yeah, I mean, I think you hit it. Our faculty are very involved. They want to make it a fun experience, very interactive. But just to give you a little bit of background on how many faculty members we have here at the Gies College of Business is home to more than 215 full-time faculty. We have over 70 that teach just in the online program space. So within that space, we also have 250 TAs that help support the professors. And then on our side, we have over 55 Geese staff members in teaching and learning that really help with the content, the course delivery, make sure that curriculum is all ready to go for our faculty members. Um, on average, we complete about 40 live sessions each week. How many do you do each week, Professor?
Three. We do
Three.
three
Okay.
across different time periods to afford students the opportunity to attend regardless of where they are in the world. We've had people who've joined us at 8 a.m., 7 a.m. in their country, but for us it's 7 p.m. when our class starts. And then if you start 7 p.m., then people in California where it's 5 p.m., right? So we do spread them across different time periods so that we could have multiple opportunities for students to actually attend the live session.
Yeah, that's a great point. And we also record them. So we,
Yeah,
as you might be busy and you can't go, that's okay. You just have to
yeah.
watch the recording, right?
It's entirely okay if you're not there, but as faculty, we always encourage you to watch the recording of the live session, especially before the next class, because we build on the material we've learned from class to class.
Yep. So Professor Noel does 3 live sessions each week. Those are hosted in 6 state-of-the-art studios that we have in our business instructional facility. We have a brand new building that's being completed called Stephen Weimer Hall that's going to have an additional 7 fabulous studios where they're going to be able to do just cutting edge things, especially in this world of AI. So look into the future to have some live sessions coming out of that brand new building. Um, To give you a taste, I know this is a special video that we often show prospective learners. I wanted to just, do you care if I show this, Professor
Of
Noel?
course not. Go
Okay.
ahead.
This video is just a quick snapshot of what it's like to be in a live session. So I'll leave it at that.
Hello and welcome from wherever in the world you are. One thing you'll know by now is realize you are not going to be able to just sit back. Got excited.
Absolutely.
I do not believe in exams. It will be a collaborative event, something you do over time with others. And that's what we do in this class. I want you to put up your hands and tell me 2 associations from the case.
Tradition comes to mind.
Associated with a working man.
Also inexpensive and very accessible.
End my classes by saying, all of you, go out in the world and be successful.
No matter how many times I show that, it always brings a smile to my face. So
Yeah. It's fun. It's fun. I kind of get a little thing watching myself do it, but I always laugh as well. I smile at it.
it is really it's an honest depiction of what it's like to be in a live session.
That is a live session. That's and if it's engaging, it's interactive, and we encourage people to speak. We encourage people to speak, and we don't force you, right? But we do encourage people to jump in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect. So let's talk about what you cover in those live classes and how you deliver information and what part of the overall, course is that. And there's 2 parts to really online learning with Gies. And there's an asynchronous component and then there's a synchronous component, which was kind of what we were highlighting in that video. But the asynchronous component is on the Coursera platform, where you'll have Coursera MOOCs, or massive open online courses that you'll complete. This serves as the foundational material within your courses, where you'll have self-assessed quizzes, you'll have some pre-recorded videos from Professor Noel, you'll have reading assignments and maybe some peer evaluations. In addition to that is where the meat of the program really comes in, where you're going to have that live 90-minute session each week with your faculty member. You'll have group projects, you'll have faculty office hours. So I guess, Professor Noel, I wanted to see if you could talk a little bit about what course you teach, and then maybe an overview of how you structure all of these components within that course.
I teach marketing management, which is a required course in our curriculum. All students have to do it at some point in the program. Initially, they had to do it early on, but now you can do it at a time that's convenient to you in terms of your sequencing. The asynchronous component, we have recordings on Coursera. A lot of them I was involved in doing, and we updated those after COVID. So 3 years ago, we updated them. Additionally, I have a co-instructor, Professor Maria Rodas, who is fantastic, and she has also recorded some videos. So the videos themselves, the Coursera platform, it's integral to the learning because we replace textbooks with the Coursera videos. So think of the Coursera videos as, instead of reading a textbook, you view the video. And we've chosen this mainly because all the research shows that even with people who learn in different modalities, because with those Coursera videos, we have transcripts. If you read and you learn through reading, then the Coursera videos will work for you. If you're a visual learner and you have to see things in action, Coursera videos would work for you. So the Coursera platform is perfect for learners who learn across different modalities. Now the live sessions, those are also critical because that's where you get a chance to interact with your peers, get a chance to ask questions of faculty, clarify points, and that's where we apply the theory you learn from the Coursera textbook, the video. you get to apply doing exercises in a classroom setting, an online classroom setting. I was amazed when I went to Georgia Tech for a conference on online learning. And at Georgia Tech, they still weren't doing live sessions in all of their classes. So many of, and Georgia Tech is seen as the grandparent of online learning because they've been doing that for years. And yet still that grandparent did not have any live sessions in most of their courses. And that's what we do. The live sessions truly set us apart from so many other programs. It gives you, the students, a voice. You ask questions, we interact with you, and it gives you the opportunity to apply the theory learned in an environment where you get almost immediate feedback. So that's wonderful. Another thing, and I know it's going to come up soon. Oh, there it is, office hours. We also use office hours as another way of engaging with students. We look at it as touch points, right? We have one touch point with the asynchronous content, Coursera content, which students seem to love. Okay, I was involved in making it, so I would not tell you it's wonderful, but it is. And it's just an opportunity for us to interact with you without that feedback. So it's not a two-way system of learning. It's one way. But the live session and then the faculty office hours allow for two-way interaction. So you actually have more touch points in the online space, 3 of them, than you would in the in-person class, 2. So you have more opportunities to interact with faculty, more opportunities to be in the front of the class, and more opportunities to learn and ask questions. In fact, the office hours, we answer questions students have about upcoming assignments. We just answer, questions. They might have a pedagogy or questions. It's sort of like existential marketing questions. What is marketing really? And students really learn a lot during these office hours. And we offer 3 office hours, sometimes 2, in some courses, office hour sessions during each week. So you get a chance, even if you, whether or not you go to the live session, you can attend an office hours. If you didn't go to live sessions, I would advise you to go to the office hours. Office hours are not recorded, but it's just another opportunity, as I said, another touch point for students to interact with faculty.
What about group projects within your class?
Oh, well, that's a great question. A lot of courses use group projects, and we do in our course. We have done with exams, the traditional type of exam. So we have students work on a marketing plan for a new product that they developed. And people come up with great ideas, come up with different ideas for products, apps, and so on, that some groups have actually seen it fit to sign contracts with their classmates in order to pursue these new inventions, these new products at a later date. So that replaces an exam. You work on it. You have a marketing plan for this new product that you come up with the idea. And we talked to you about creativity and how you can generate ideas, etc. But it's a wonderful opportunity to work on something, to get your hands dirty, applying the theory you've learned in a real life situation, a real life project that you're working on.
I love that. There's actually a question here in the Q&A. What I guess, now that we have an overview of kind of how a course works, what are key habits or key strategies do you provide your students to be successful? Like, what is a successful online student? How do they tackle your course?
Well, let's start with the attributes of a successful student in the online space. One of it has to be, you have to be self-motivated. You have to have some measure of self-discipline, mainly because you control your schedule. You don't have to show up at the live sessions. You don't have to watch the live sessions. As a matter of fact, we find a small minority of students try to get through the program by only looking at asynchronous content and not even viewing the live sessions, but they are the exception. And we really would encourage you to take advantage of this learning opportunity. So you have to be self-driven. in an online program because no one comes and watches over your shoulder as in an online in-person class to make sure you're getting things done, right? You also have to really manage your time effectively. These courses are 8-week courses, and sometimes people are doing 2 courses at the same time during that 8 weeks, and they might do another 2 in the second 8 weeks of the semester. By the way, and I think Kate, you'll talk about this, you can do this at your own pace. You can do 1 course a semester, 2 or 3, because you're gainfully employed, most of you, almost all of you. We do not expect you to have a full course load like a student who's in person, right? So you do it at your own pace. But again, you have to manage your time wisely because it's coming at you in an 8-week span and you're completing the course. The other thing is you really have to have critical thinking and problem solving skills. Most of the courses require you to be analytical. In my course, in our course, marketing management, you have to be. You're solving a problem about how do you satisfy a need that exists with a product that you're creating, and your thinking and reasoning skills come into play there. Finally, we have found that students who are successful tend to be more active in participating in their own learning. So they turn on their cameras, they ask questions when they don't understand, they raise their hands. That's why I love seeing these questions. They raise their hands when they're not sure. And they sometimes some students actually go to office hours and the live sessions, which is what we love. But even if they don't, they go on the discussion board in the Canvas site or Blackboard size Canvas and post questions. So people who are active participants, who regularly interact with the instructors and peers, who contribute to discussions and ask questions and seek feedback, they tend to be the most successful in our class.
Completely agree. And I will say that's also what we're looking for in our candidates and our applicants for the program. And so, you get to choose how much you interact, but obviously that collaboration, you're going to, get way more out of the program if you're putting yourself out there and interacting.
And just to add to that, one of the things we've found is that people interact with their group members and who participate in group discussions do very well in the class also. So my mother had a saying, iron sharpens iron, she'd say. When you are a smart student and you have ideas, the best way to fine-tune these ideas is by discussing it with other students who might be just as smart as you. So go into group discussions, ask questions, defend your position. That makes your position stronger. Okay, so we really encourage you to work with your group. Every now and then you come upon a student who does not, and they tend to be the students who don't do well in the class. Don't do well. Someone has a question here, Kate. If I could I tackle it?
Go for it.
About completing Coursera courses and how they apply to degree requirements. For every course, you have to complete the Coursera section because it's the textbook. It's where the theory is housed. If you place the textbook, the traditional 500-page, $290 textbook, right? That has been replaced with the Coursera videos. So for someone to be successful in these courses, at a bare minimum, they have to be the Coursera videos. So you don't get a final grade unless you pass, meaning, and it's not pass, I should say, but complete all the requirements in Coursera. You complete assignments, you view the videos, you take multiple choice quizzes and other assessments. Unless that has occurred, you won't you won't pass the course that you're taking. So it is a requirement, and you have to complete each Coursera course before you get the final grade for your course that you're working on.
Great point. And if you've completed some of these Coursera MOOCs that are in some of our courses already, we will recognize that progress too. So just know that once you apply to the program, we'll be able to see that. Yes?
And Kate, if they completed 2 years ago, I would advise them to look at it again.
Yep,
if they have a memory like I do, after 2 years, I start replacing some of that information with new information.
For sure. Okay, well, that was a great overview. I just wanted to share a quick, this slide just kind of talks a little bit about the iMBA curriculum because this course is in the iMSM as well as the iMBA program. But this falls into that value chain management as a core course. Is that correct?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
it does.
Okay, so
We
this
have
is one
value
of your
chain management.
required courses that you have to take as an iMBA student, and then you can also take it as an MSM student. So in addition to those core courses, you do have some focus area or elective choices within the MBA program, and this is actually a greater theme within all of our degree programs. You have elective choices so that you're able to cater your degree to your interests, right? We want you to learn some skills that are really going to impact your specific career. So just know that there are elective choices as well. I'm not going to get too deep into this because I know we have a lot to cover here. But here's some just kind of a quick overview if you're interested in the iMBA or the iMSM programs. Here's just some details as far as the total tuition. And remember, this is a pay-as-you-go tuition model. So you're only paying for each course that you're registered and enrolled in. So there's not going to be a lump sum payment. And that is the total cost there. So 72 credit hours for the iMBA program, 36 for the iMSM. And one note, you can actually start with the iMSM program and stack all 36 credit hours into the iMBA program at a later time. So really nice stackability there if you're not quite ready for the iMBA program. And then there's the timeline to commit. And as Professor Noel said, it's really up to you how fast you move throughout these programs because you'll take one or two courses. You can kind of move back and forth between taking one or two. It's really up to you based on what you can handle at that time. Now, one course we say kind of requires around 10 to 15 hours of work each week. Taking two at a time can be anywhere from 15, 20, 25, sometimes 30 hours per week. It really depends a lot on your background, kind of the courses that you're pairing, things like that. So just a little background on there. I wanted to talk a little bit about the students that are in your courses, Professor Noel. Here's some just basic facts on the students that make up the iMBA and the iMSM programs. And I guess we touched a little bit on what a successful student looks like, but I guess what do you feel like what kind of skills and knowledge do your students that you teach gain from your course, and how are they actually applying those skills to their careers? I think talk a little bit about like kind of that ROI and how it's really impacting their careers.
Well, first of all, students who come into the class, a lot of them have experience in other fields of study. We have engineers, we have people, scientists, we have pilots. We have people come in with so many varied backgrounds, but they have years of experience. And 11 is the average, but we have with 20, 30 years experience and some with less experience. But most people in our program come with experience and understanding of how business works. One of the things we try to do is ensure that they understand the process of marketing and what it means. And in this case, marketing means to provide something of value to a consumer, satisfying consumers' needs by providing them with a product or service that adds value. And in doing so, in taking them through that process, we teach them frameworks, we teach them approaches to analyzing business situations because our course is case-based. So you actually have to study business cases, which are real-world examples of a business challenge. So you have to do that. And in doing so, you sharpen your powers of analysis. Students have described many situations where they can apply almost immediately the very next day on their job some of the frameworks and techniques in terms of analytical and reasoning processes. They'll be able to apply that almost immediately on their job. So they become more analytical. They learn how to look at a business situation and ask the right questions. It starts there, right? If you ask the wrong questions, then you'll be providing the wrong solution to the underlying problem. And also, they take with them frameworks or different theoretical constructs that through applying those in the class itself, they get practice and they're able to apply it as well on the job. So those are just some of the skills students leave my course with.
I want to note too that if you take a look at the percentages of international learners. So I think this really adds to the diversity of your students and what
Yes,
all the different education and just different locations, and they bring their experience to the table to really add a lot
they
to those
do.
discussions.
They do. It adds to the richness of the program. In early on in the program, we talk about segmentation and geographic segmentation and so on. And we ask students about McDonald's. What does McDonald's serve in your country? And oh, I love this picture. And you hear all the different responses. And I tell people, hey, have you ever been to India, to China, to Australia? Well, you can do that by your interaction with people. Learn a little bit about these places by interaction with people who come from these countries. It's just a wonderful experience to have that difference and diversity of opinion and experiences.
It's one of my favorite parts. I mean, I've met people from all over the world, so
Yes.
really wonderful. Okay, we're going to move along here to student engagement. Obviously, another key aspect to our iDegree programs are the opportunities to network outside of your coursework, right? So not only are you meeting people as you hopefully are learning in your group projects, there's many other ways to get involved, network. We talked a little bit about faculty office hours. There's several things on this slide, but I guess I just want to maybe throw it back to you and ask you kind of what's your favorite way to network with your students? I know that I actually took this picture when we
Yes.
had a meetup in Champaign not too long ago, and you are just so great about attending as many events as you can.
Yes. Yes.
But I guess, how are you able to really network with these students and get to know them?
Well, I will say one thing I'm bad about is connecting with many people on LinkedIn. I think I have 280 invitations to go through. I just don't like to do blanket invites, like accept all, because so many people, and that 280 is from the last month. So many people take my course online and they send me invitations. If I just accept everyone, I don't have time to devote to the students in our program. So I have to go through it and see if they have any connection to University of Illinois and so on. So I do much better interacting with students in our office hours. I also like to interact with them. We have these two events. One is a show your colors event where people wear the colors from their state or from a place where their heart is, right? And we talk about it. And research shows when you disclose just something small about yourself that others might not know, that helps build connections and generate or create better communities, stronger communities. So we find that as a method to build community. Additionally, I like iConverge. I've done everything here, the iConnects, the iConverge, and the immersions. 3 weeks ago, I did an immersion with students in Miami. It was fantastic. Students talked about how it generated such a bonding experience for them. They were able to bond and connect with their colleagues. And I also found myself bonding and connecting with students as well because they're adult learners, right? I've done immersions with undergrads. It's not the same. It's not the same. You have to watch these 20-year-olds make sure they come back to the hotel on time and they don't disappear. They're not as responsible as these adult learners who we see here. So the immersions, I just did an iConnect. I went to Jamaica and we had 9 students came out to meet with me in Kingston, Jamaica at a place called Tracks and Records, which is a restaurant owned by Usain Bolt. So, you're able to interact with students personally. It shrinks the miles. It shrinks the distance when you can interact with these students face to face after you've interacted with them on Coursera and on the screen during live sessions and office hours. The final thing is iConverge. If you join our program, and I hope you do, You must come to iConverge. It is just a tremendous opportunity to meet with students that you've seen on the screen and put a face to these names, or put a persona to this name and face you might see on Zoom. And students talk about how enriching the experience is. I usually meet with students during iConverge several times. At a brunch, we have breakfast, we chat, different events. To this day, they're still trying to get me to dance, but I'm not. I step aside and let the students do that. But I'm one Trinidadian and I have two left feet. So I will never be out there cutting up the rug like these students want me to do.
Never say never. Never say
Okay,
never.
most likely it will not be. But
Yeah.
but iConverge is just a wonderful experience, a wonderful opportunity to get to meet with others who are sharing this experience with you, and also meet with faculty. A lot of faculty attend.
No, that's just for everybody. That's a professional development conference basically that we put on every year, so we can bring all of our alumni, online alumni, and current students together.
How many were here last year? Do you remember?
This last one we had around, I think I want to say it was like around 400, but we've had over 500 people.
Yeah, we've had 580 before.
Yep,
Yeah.
from Singapore and Dubai, and everybody comes.
All over.
Yep. So, okay, well, that gives a good idea of the kind of the ways that you can network, how you can engage. I think that's a common question in this virtual environment. Like, people just don't think it's possible, but it is, and we provide so many ways that you can get involved.
And Kate, one thing, when we ask students what they enjoyed most about the experience here, you think they say, oh, the professors, the learning. You know what they say? Their colleagues, meeting others. You know, I'm a supporter of one of the best soccer teams, football teams in the world, Arsenal. And our coach from Arsenal, Mikel Arteta, said, he asked a question to the team, what's more important, the journey or the destination? And I asked the students in the chat, what's more important, the journey or the destination? Just type in the chat quickly. What do you think is the most important thing, the journey or the destination? I'm not seeing any answers. Type something for me quickly. The journey. Type again, journey, journey, journey. It's a trick question. Most correct. It's neither. It's the company. It's the company, the people who are with you along the way. So you could say it's a journey, but no, the people with whom you make that journey. That's a critical piece. My uncle, he was a vice principal of a high school in Jamaica called Calabar High School, and he became a principal of St. Jacob High School. And he was there. His principal didn't get along with him because he thought he was too big a personality. I guess that's where I got it from, where he interacted. You know, he'd go in and he'd call the students. He actually took all the boys who were the rough housing ones, the bad behaved kids, and made a rugby team out of them. And they won the high school championship because he got all the boys who had all the energy to burn. Anyway, a hurricane, I think Gilbert was the name, hit Jamaica, destroyed a lot of property. His principal's house flooded because they were in houses owned by the school. His was flooded too, but not as badly. And he told the principal, bring his family over. And they were there with no lights, no electricity for 8 days. 8 days. No fresh water for 8 days. And afterwards, they were as thick as thieves. They were tight. Why? They experienced something together. They went through this experience together. So again, it's not about the journey. It's not about the destination, but the company. And the company you meet here is fantastic. You'll meet people who will enrich your lives. People will change your view of things. People will make you question, oh, why did I think this? And, you know, it's just wonderful to meet people who make you a better person, right? That's how it is. It's just wonderful to meet all these people. And they also give you opportunities to get new jobs. So many of our folks get jobs and change. I know off the top of my head five people personally who have gotten new jobs in the last 2 or 3 years based on their interactions with colleagues in the program. Honestly.
Yes, and we have some great, just speaking to that, career impact and return on investment statistics that we can point you to as well. If you're curious about that, we can throw those in the chat. But I think you're so right. Our students are here for the right reason. They're here to learn and change their career path. And so that really makes just such a great environment for people to get to know each other and really sometimes become lifelong friends. Like there's some groups that are just so connected. And yeah, so I'm so glad you shared that. Okay, we have 10 minutes left. I want to make sure we get to a couple questions here at the end, but here are the application requirements. I'm not going to dive too deep into any of these. If you have specific questions, please reach out to us. And we can walk you through that. We do require a bachelor's degree for all of our credentials, so just make sure you have unofficial transcripts for that. For your actual application, once you're an admitted student, the graduate college will require official transcripts within that first semester or so. So what else? In addition to that, we do need 2 recommendation letters for the iMBA, iMSM, and the iMSA programs. These are not meant to be a big stressor for you. We just need the name and email of your recommender for your actual application, and then we'll go ahead and email them a form to fill out. That is not a big lift, should take them 15-20 minutes, and then they can also upload a letter at that time. We do require English proficiency if you're an international applicant. No GRE or GMAT are required. And then if you're interested in applying for a scholarship, tomorrow is the deadline to apply. So if that is big on your list, make sure you apply by tomorrow, and that application will, the scholarship application will be found in your portal, and then we'll also email you a link to that. So. But any other questions on that, please throw those in the Q&A, and Roxana, my colleague, will be happy to answer those, or reach out to us. So just to give some deadlines here that are coming up, as I said, tomorrow, this is our first priority 1 deadline for fall. So if you're interested in starting in August or October, apply by tomorrow. There's no app fee. You can get on and start networking with your fellow students. So lots of advantages to apply early. And if you're not quite ready for that, we do have that May 1st deadline, which is a priority too. Still no app fee. And so you have plenty of time to apply by May 1st. June 5th is our final deadline for an August start, and August 7th is a final deadline to start in October. This is all on our website as well, so you don't have to take notes or anything there. But yeah, so that is just in a nutshell, a little bit of an overview. We've got such great insight from Professor Noel. I do have some questions though. I think we've been keeping up with the questions in the chat and the Q&A, but you all submitted some really great questions. So I did want to just kind of pass on some of those. And the first one, Professor, is how do you incorporate real world business challenges into your teaching? And maybe you can touch on that new role that you also play as a case developer.
One of the things we are doing here at Gies is we are creating our own cases. We create our own case studies for a number of reasons. One is we are better able to highlight Gies alums in our cases, and we have quite a few alums who have extremely interesting stories. There's one a couple, they were on Shark Tank, and they developed this product called Curl Mix for people with curly hair. And they actually tuned down Mr. Wonderful, I think. I forget who it was. They tuned them down because they thought the offer was not good. And they went on their own. And the way they funded it was the husband actually won money in the lottery. And shortly after being on Shark Tank, and they used that to fund the idea, and Coolmix is now worth over $10 million. So we would write a case about them and their company and the challenges they face and how it's positioned, etc. So students are able to use real world examples or see these examples in the cases when they're doing analysis in their marketing classes. That's one thing. And we have a case writing initiative, which I am chairing at the Gies College of Business, and faculty are writing cases to be used in their courses. That's one thing. The other thing is we also give students the opportunity, as I said, to work to generate new products, but they also are able to work with existing companies when they're developing marketing plans. Companies that have a marketing challenge, a marketing problem. A lot of times students use companies they work for who have a marketing challenge. So you are able to apply the theories that you're learning to a marketing challenge, a real world challenge with your company or the company one of your colleagues might be working for. So all throughout your experience in my course and in other courses, you get the opportunity to apply the theory to a real world case, real world challenge, be it with a project or with a case analysis, and that case deals with an existing business.
I think that, I'm glad you mentioned that because that project-based learning, that case study learning is really how you're applying, right? We can learn the
Yes,
foundation on the,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
Okay, one other question. Can you share an example of a success story from a past student that you've taught? I know you just mentioned you knew 5 people also that,
Yeah,
changed
yeah.
their role, but is there like an example that you could share?
We have one student, I won't call her name, but she was working for I think it was one of the consulting firms, and but she had a very limited role. She dealt primarily with financing. Well, so she was good with numbers. I mean, she was an accountant. But after she took the course and after the program, she actually left that firm and started raising money and providing marketing and other advice to women who are starting businesses. And she started being able to get them microloans to help them start their businesses. And these microloans were not that micro, they were between $10,000 and $50,000. And she provides guidance to these women. And if you join our program, when you meet me, I will share her information with you. I prefer not to do that now before people call their sister, their aunt, so and say, hey, check this lady out. I think she's really strained right now for resources, but she has done really, really well. So she's doing well and she's doing good. See?
Yep.
Doing good in society.
Great example. Okay, last question. As we near, we're here at the top of the hour, and thanks everybody for sticking with us here. If you could give some advice to anybody on the fence about enrolling in one of our degree programs, what could some of these factors be? And hopefully we've mentioned a lot of them. But what could help them make that decision?
A couple of things. One is I'll use part of my 3 C's model. I have a 3 C's model. I look at engagement. One is the sense of community. The people here make the program. Students and faculty make the program. You can meet them. You have more opportunities to meet them and interact with them than you would have in any other online space. Any other online space. And as I said, people become lifelong friends, and a lot of people become colleagues because they change jobs and work with others. And who better to work with than someone whose capability and abilities you know because you've been with them through the program. So that sense of community. The other C is that connection. We stay in touch with you. You're not just a number to us. You're a lifelong learner. You're a lifelong partner in learning. So even after you're finished, it doesn't stop there. We have our finance professors who have these reach out to students where they talk about current issues in finance. We just started that in marketing, where we talk about current issues in marketing. And the only people who can attend those are Gies iDegrees students. No one else. Gies iDegrees students. And we tend to get a good turnout for that. Additionally, you can continue learning through Coursera. If you've not done certain courses, you haven't done digital marketing, you can come back and you can actually do it. So that connection, we are always connected with our students. And the final thing is, I think there is no other program that offers the level of engagement that we have. If it is you want to just do a correspondence course, this isn't the program for you. If it is you just want to submit assignments, turn it in, and get your degree, and I would say, go somewhere where it's all asynchronous. But if you want to be engaged in a space, and engagement doesn't take time in terms of a great amount of time, you're doing things that you should be doing to be successful. But engagement really enhances your perspective, it enhances your chance of being more successful, and your ability to then take what you've learned and transfer it to the business world, to your business, to your job is really increased when you're engaged. And we offer engagement like no other, like no other.
Great advice. I think we're going to wrap it up right there.
Yeah.
We can't say it any better than that. So, we are just at 7 o'clock. And so I just wanted to say thank you so much to everybody being here. What a great session. It's so nice to put you in connection with one of our faculty members. And you would get to know him, and this is real. This is how we operate here at Gies. And so thank you, Professor Noel, for just really sharing your insight and just kind of helping everybody understand how things work here. So if you all have questions, I did put that QR code up on the screen. And I just wanted to thank everybody for being here. And I am going to throw it back to Professor Noel, because he likes to end his live sessions with some special words. And so we're going to wrap up with that, and I'll throw it back to you.
I would like to say each every one of you, it was really a pleasure to have you here. You could have been anywhere else. You chose to spend your time here with us right now, and we appreciate it. An hour, 30 minutes. We really appreciate it. I want all of you to do something. Each and every one of you do something that will enhance your chances of getting into the program and being successful in the program. It could be connecting with other people here. It could be doing some more reading about the program. It could be sampling a Coursera course. Do one, audit one, right? It could be reaching out to other people to write you recommendation letters. Start doing that, but do something that will enhance your chances of success in the application process, and also your chance of success in the program itself. And I always like to say this, each and every one of you, I want you to go out into the world and be successful. Ciao.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Thank you.
Have a
Bye-bye.
good evening.
Bye-bye.